Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of MindAbility Matters. I am genuinely really excited about today's show. Sharon and I have known each other for a while now. She's the founder of Mumford HR. We'll get into some kind of quite funny stuff in a bit. Um, she's an absolute joy and delight to be around, and I've had the absolute privilege of hanging out with her at some of the Disrupt HR events over the last year or so. But there's so much more to Sharon and what she does in terms of the world of HR. Before we get into it, Sharon, I'd love for you to introduce yourself.
Well, hello. Thank you all for joining. I'm Sharon Mumford. I own Mumford HR and really happy to be helping companies with their HR needs. And how much introduction do you need? Been in HR for 30 years. I love helping strategically and having fun in HR. I'm in Littleton, Colorado, so just outside of Denver. I can see the snow on the mountains actually right now from where I'm sitting. So it's a beautiful day.
Sharon, I think that, I've often said to you, just, you've got such an impressive track record. I'd love for you to share more about, some of the real achievements you've made during your time in corporate.
So as I mentioned, I started over 30 years ago. I fell into HR. I actually started off in pre-law and fell into the wonderful world of people. I have worked my way from an HR assistant to an executive level in HR. I have helped companies to set up their processes, streamline efficiencies, help with turnover, just done some really fun things. And I've, like I always say, I have fun along the way. I was in San Diego when I first started, lived in San Diego for probably the first 15, 20 years of my career.
Wow.
Worked for a lot of great companies, a lot of interesting industries. I've done a lot of contract work. So it really was my job to go in and fix things, set processes up, change things, a lot of projects to hire large amounts of people, get things ready, or sometimes to figure out, we're hiring a lot of people because so many people have left. So trying to figure out, why did they leave? Why aren't they hiring the right people? Let's try to get them to stay. So have done a lot of that and had some great success and learned a lot. So really enjoyed, I've always just really enjoyed going in and helping fix things and making the people part easier for everybody. So I've done everything from, I did a lot of recruitment early on, and I kept getting offered HR manager roles. And every time I would say, no, I'm a recruiter. I hire people. And they're like, no, you're so much more than that. You know what you're doing. And so I just kept falling into these roles, people, and then working my way up. And it's been a fun ride.
Sharon, I love that. And what was the turning point, if you like, for you when you knew that there was a better way that HR could be delivered, and what was your thinking behind forming Mumford HR?
I think I've known that HR can be different and delivered better from an early point in my career. I've gone into so many different companies, like I said, to try to fix things and try to help them. So I think it was my second role. I was an employment representative, and my job was to hire, do employee relations and retention. And it was during 1999 when there was a big hiring challenge, and so really learning to open my mind and think about things differently, and you really just had to think outside the box. So I started from there, just really always trying to remember that things don't have to be done a certain way. So along the way, 20 or 30 years, definitely tried to keep that with me. And then for Mumford HR, I got to a point where I was working from home a few hours away from, I ended up moving during COVID, and then the office called everyone back in, and I was traveling a lot. I was going into the office, but it was about a 4-hour drive to the office.
Wow.
And they called the board called us back in. So I decided that I wanted to stay where I was living, and it just seemed like everything lined up to start my own business. I also wanted to balance that with family. So I think we had some family things come up. We have a new baby in the family. And then unfortunately, we had a death in the family around the same time. But I think that helped just kind of remind to keep things in perspective.
Yeah.
So this is really important to me. But I think with all of the places I've been and all the things that I've done, I feel like I got to a point where I know I just have so much to share.
Yeah, you do.
And I don't think I see a lot of people who think HR is a certain way, and they think, oh, you have to have it this way. And I'm the one to challenge and say, do you though? Do you? And maybe sometimes it's best practice, and maybe sometimes it's the law, and you got to figure out which one it is, and maybe it's not right for that company. So I think I'm still always trying to think about that, and think about keeping that open mind with every company that I work with. Yeah.
I love that. And when you look at the impact you've already had with some of the great work which I know you've been delivering, what are you most proud of what that you've achieved so far?
Oh gosh, I think I have being able to come in and make a difference. So one company that I was with, I think well, I'm still watching, just watching the changes that we've made. Yeah, I think definitely I'm proud of making the impacts that we've made. I think I'm trying to think of what I'm most proud of. Going into a company and helping them with some little things. I think companies they're running their business. The leaders and the owners are focused on that. So they don't know HR. So I sat down with one company, we did an audit, and we took a look at their hiring practices, and that was their challenge, and changed some things, worked with our managers, worked with everything, and now they're getting more candidates. Their retention is better. We worked on their benefits to get their benefits better. So really proud of being able to help them and make such a big impact on the business. And that one I always think of because it happens to be a nonprofit as well. So I also really enjoy being able to make an impact that way, kind of indirectly helping their cause by helping them to be better. So that I think I was most proud of. But being able to go in and helping, excuse me, I've worked with all different sizes of companies. So I think especially with the larger companies I've worked with, it's to me, it's really important to streamline things to do them quicker, faster. Maybe I didn't learn it from big companies. I'm not sure where I learned it, but to me, it's all about streamlining processes and when you're shorthand and getting things done. So going in and helping companies to realize, I've had a few projects too where they're doing everything by hand still.
Wow.
They're using spreadsheets. One of my clients takes 2 days to do their payroll. And so I'm like, I can help you with that. Let's figure out some things. I can help you save time so you can focus on what you're good at, and let us help you with what we're good at, which is all the people side of the business, which includes processes and compliance and different kinds of things. But I really enjoy that piece, saving time, so you have more time to use your brain, not a spreadsheet, and more time to have fun, of course.
Exactly. I love that. And I think that's an area of the HR world that very few people really recognize. I think we've all heard it time and time again. The HR police, you're here to tell us what we can't do, um, etc. But actually, when HR is used well, and you've got a good HR support behind you, the difference and impact it can have, saving recruitment costs, uh, retention, as we've talked about, productivity, attracting people who want to
Mm.
join your organization, that all comes from great HR who've helped create and put the infrastructures in place to make that happen. Where would you like to see Mumford in 12 to 18 months' time? What's the dream for the business?
Growth. I want to be able to have, I have a team now, so I do have some people who help me part-time with some projects. I want to be able to grow that just to be able to help more companies. I have a lot of people who used to work for me in the corporate world who would like to still continue to work with me. So having a great team and support. I don't know everything, but I know, well, okay, I know a lot. I'm not an expert at everything. So I think surrounding myself with all of those experts and being able to help even more people. So just growing my team to be able to help support more companies and make more of an impact. Having more companies, I just love it when a client, when you're talking with you're talking with a client, and they just go, and you just see that weight lifted. I just want to see more of that from more companies, and having my team to be able to help with that would be great. I mean, we do work with companies nationwide. I do have a lot of clients right now in the Colorado area. I do enjoy meeting in person, but I will fly wherever, as you know, to meet up with folks. So yeah, growth nationally, having more of a team nationally. I do have some international experience, but not a ton. So sometimes I have that kind of up there that maybe some international, but really focusing on just helping more companies.
Love that. And when you look at, say, the bigger picture and the way the world of work is continuing to evolve, what role would you like Mumford to play in that? What's the biggest area that you'd like to impact and have a fundamental change?
I really like to, it's a balance, I think, between people and the company, right? The company's trying to make money and the people are just trying to, or we're also trying to make money, but I think they, people spend a lot of time at their job. So I think making it a workplace that they're happy to go to is important to me. And it's a win-win. But I think one thing that really, really gets me, that I like to come across, is for companies to remember people are humans. So I know, the whole human resources can start to be a little outdated. Are they resources and all of that? But they're people. And unfortunately, I still have to remind leaders and owners that their people are working for them. Humans are working for them. So I really want to make more of an impact in that way. I do understand that there's a balance. So if you're like, oh, well, they're people, so I want to provide tons of benefits and time off and all these different things, that's can be really hard to do. And I understand that. And I think balance, or figuring out what each company can do to make that balance. But I think remembering that they're people. And so sometimes it's a part of the process where maybe they're firing somebody, maybe they're having some performance issues, or maybe they are trying to figure out their benefits plan, their handbook policies, different things. I try to remember that in the process and just remind them there are legalities, obviously, that we have to talk through, and compliance and financial things we've got to consider. But I think just keeping that in mind, that we're all human, and to have a little bit more compassion in that area, I think is something that really I want to say excites me, but something I feel that's very important to me, that I really try to share and make an impact on, because I just, yeah, I think we just need a little bit of help in that area still, in general. So I think some leadership stuff, sometimes it's leadership styles. There's, people think to be a good leader, you've got to be mean, or, there's certain things which it's there's compassion. Listen to your employees. Maybe they've got things going on at home. There's a lot of little things that have to do with that, but supporting leaders and business owners with that, just kind of that, those who don't, sometimes remember that we're all people and human, and things happen, and kids get sick, and parents get sick, and your pets get sick. There's things that happen to all of us. So just remembering that, I think is really important to me.
And in that regard, what are some of the great innovations you're seeing some of your clients even talk to you about right now, in terms of in recognition of the human side of things? What things are you seeing that are changing for the better in that regard?
Um, I do think the flexibility, people are understanding the flexibility. I try to tell people, you don't have to let your employees work from home necessarily to be flexible. So there's some positions that do need to be on site. Manufacturing, for one, how do you make your widget from home? So, but you can be flexible. And so I think I am seeing leaders understand some of that, it works. I mean, so they don't have to be able to work from home. They can work 410s or 312s, or whatever rotating shifts, and employees are so happy with that, to be able to have more of a balance. So I'm seeing a change there, because initially it wasn't. It was, no, you have to work 8 to 5. This is, our schedule. And I think I am happy to see that people are starting to be more flexible with that. I think that's a change for people. And I think employers are starting to be forced to also recognize sick leave pays, or sick leave is required in so many states now. So I think I want to say 20, but it's something that's really important. And so I try to explain to them, because can be frustrating, but you have to plan your business around that. And everybody gets sick. And so that's where I think where it's starting to come in for me and be top of mind, is like, hey, this isn't really unreasonable. People have been going to work sick, and have things going on, or losing their jobs because something's going on. And now you get to keep them. It's as good. You don't have to retrain, just give them a day off. So, I think that there's a lot going on there. And so I am excited about the changes, and hope that there could be more of a balance than I'm your boss. This is why, you have to be here, and you have to be here at this time. And, so I do see it changing, and I'm glad to help support that and be part of that.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think, I'm your boss, I want you in 8 till 5. You have presenteeism, you do not have productivity. The two are not,
Mm.
they're not a natural bedfellows, unless you work at it, you get it right, and people are there because they want to be there. And it's to your point, the 4-hour commute is really disruptive.
And that's a mind shift for people. It really is. I mean, I think, for so many years, the thought was, you have to be at work and your butt in a seat for you to be working. And that's not the case. But I also understand that if you're not at work, you might not be working. So yeah, like you mentioned, looking at productivity, managing the work, and not just the 8 to 5 being in the office is a change, but it can be done. And it can be done better. I mean, geez, it is it is better. Even if they're sitting in the office from 8 to 5, doesn't mean they're working. So why don't you manage their actual work, and get better productivity? And usually the employee appreciates it. People want to feel like they're productive and they're making a difference in their careers as well.
Exactly. And I mean, I remember early on in my career when I was still in large corporates, there were whole swathes of days where we were definitely not productive. You had a Thursday night team outing where all the team got together, and Friday morning was spent gossiping, and then it was lunchtime, and then, oh, well, it's only a couple of hours till we go back. And it doesn't make it right and it doesn't make it wrong. It goes back to your point about that human element. And I think we forget that if you're in the office every day, you're going to have those kind of days, or someone goes out for lunchtime and takes 2.5 hours, or 3 or 4 breaks in the day. It's going to happen. And the other side of that is recognizing that that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Well, the jokes of the copier, the chats at the copy machine, are you people chatting in the lunchroom, and all of those things. It is real. What's the difference between that and changing your laundry because you're at home? I mean, you're going to have those disruptions. So there's a balance, I think, but yeah, the human element is there. And I understand team building, too. I like I said, I like to meet people in person and get together in person, but we don't necessarily have to be together every day. You and I work together on projects, and we're thousands of miles apart.
I know.
And that's okay. We could still drink wine together virtually. We could still have so much fun, from across the world. And so I also recognize when I managed, my team was in 20 different states. So the people I managed weren't here. A lot of them. I had a team here as well, but I had people all over the country. So I'm not seeing whether or not they're sitting in their chair or what they're doing, right? I can still manage them and lead them. I would just look at their performance and look at their work. And there's so many people I talked to, they would lead teams all over the world. And it didn't matter that they weren't sitting in front of them, watching them. And that's the part that really gets me. I mean, I like I said, I think it's great to be able to get together in person and have some connection and have some things, done in person. But that's my personality. Not everyone needs that, but I think it's helpful. But you don't have to do it every day. And like I said, the people who lead teams all over the world, they can still be successful. So let's think about everything, and we've all got to change and adapt, right? I mean, the world is changing, so I think it's important to do that.
Yeah, and it's changing faster than ever before. It's it's insane. It's insane, it's scary, it's frightening and exhilarating all at the same time. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was really interesting, and I'd love your take on it. I know you and I haven't spoken about this before, but I was talking to someone else today who was saying, based on the technology side of things, that it's hard for those early stage HRs to break into HR now, with so much being automated, and so the administrative side of things can now be done through a piece of technology or AI. Do you think we're losing some of that with those coming into the industry early on? What's your opinion?
I think that the technology will only make us better. I think it gives us, we're still going to use our brains. I think it's just, oh gosh, because because I've been in HR for so long. I think when, I literally used to type offer letters on a typewriter. I know you can't tell by how I look, but yeah, I used to type offer letters on a typewriter, and I would either have to retype them or use whiteout to fix things.
Yeah.
And when we got computers, that was just faster. And what did that do? That gave me time to do other things. So I think that my opinion is being able to embrace the technology, use it to our advantage, and help us to be better at the things that computers can't do. I do, as I mentioned, work a lot with my clients to help them embrace technology so it saves them time as well. And it saves me. I have BillyBot Mumford as my ChatGPT helper, but he doesn't do everything for me. I can just run, he's going to help me be a little bit faster. He's going to help me be a little bit faster sometimes. And so I think there's some productivity there, but he's not human. I as much as I love BillyBot, I can't ask him these human questions. We can't talk about things. He's got parameters set in his brain, right? So I think that, strategy, people, humans, that's all things that we need to do, not a computer. So I think that embracing the technology is good. I do think some of those really small companies, it is a game changer for them just to have some technology. At least they have something. So
Yeah.
for me, gosh, if you can have, I don't mind working alongside a company who has some technology and some support, but then they just don't understand it and they have questions. So I see a lot of, I don't want to name the sites, but some of the sites that people have that help them with their HR, they either don't know everything, they don't make a lot of sense. I've asked a lot of questions to my BillyBot and he doesn't know the answers. So he's given me the wrong, I don't count on him for laws and for different things. He doesn't always know. It's, you still sometimes need, you need that human touch. So it's okay to have, for small businesses to have the help, but then also you also need a person. I think I embrace the technology. It's the way of the future. You can't get around it. And people back in, like I said, when computers, what was it when people got calculators and computer, it's like, oh, what are we going to do now? And all the changes, solar, whoa, what are all those people in the coal mines going to do? Or what, it's like you adapt and you learn new things and ways to make you better. And other, so I think the technology is great. I try to embrace it as much as I can, all different kinds of systems. Oh my gosh, Calendly, how amazing is that? We don't have to spend forever long going back and forth with emails trying to figure out what time works for everybody to get a meeting scheduled. There's so many little things with technology that just, so guess what? I can spend more time talking to you, or I can spend more time, talking to an employee because I'm not spending 30 minutes back and forth on an email about scheduling time. So I think there's a lot of different technologies, if that's what you meant, that really help us and I think are a support. And so I try to learn everything I can and learn to embrace it. And there's so much to learn though, so fast. And the payroll systems, oh my goodness, amazing. I really appreciate how much they do now. And so for me, it's more of being more of an expert in these payroll systems to help the employees, when I can, to help them with their systems too, I think is really important.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and thank you. All I can see is LinkedIn users, so forgive me, I don't know who you are. Fortense was a game changer in my last organisation for candidate attraction and employee engagement. So thank you very much for that.
Really.
Yeah, and the reason for those of you who saw me pull a face when Sharon said, Billy Bob, we have this running joke between Sharon and I. So my chat GPT is called Betty Bot and Sharon's is Billy Bob Mumford. And we had an now infamous call a few weeks ago where uh, Marnie and I spent the next few days listening to Mumford and Sons. And I just couldn't get Billy Bot out of my mind. So she gets Billy Bot in there as much as she can, and fair play. You did well on that one, Sharon. I love it.
I've got to find a way to incorporate my theme song or a Mumford and Sons theme song somewhere, but I'm not sure if that's my website or a LinkedIn post. But yeah,
It's
get Mumford and
coming.
Sons
I
in your
know
head.
it's coming.
Yeah, so fun.
So, Sharon, talking about fun, this is the part of the show where I ask you some personal questions so people can get to know you more. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to break break you in gently on this one. What is your favourite cheese?
First of all, I would like to say that I love cheese. Anyone who knows me well knows that I love cheese. My husband is a chef and he obviously cooks when people come over, and I am always in charge of the cheese display, which I have so much fun with. So I love cheese. I would say most cheese, a little too stinky. I don't prefer, but I love a good raclette and I love a good brie because I enjoy putting all different types of spreads on the brie, like a good like raspberry habanero jam or something. So I would say brie.
Sharon, that is just, I'm salivating just thinking about that. That was so well
Me
described.
too.
So, my next question to you is what was the worst film you've watched last year where you feel you really can't get those couple of hours of your life back?
Okay, so I don't watch a lot of movies. I don't know if it's because I can't sit still long enough to watch the whole thing. If I don't like a movie, I usually turn it off. The only one that comes to mind is kind of embarrassing. Um, Small backstory, as I always say. I went to San Diego State for about 3 years, and upper division. I had transferred in. My major was international security and conflict resolution.
Oh,
So
wow.
I took classes in nuclear war and terrorism and international government. My tests were how long different missiles could go. I mean, it was crazy. So the people who graduated with me were either went into Homeland Security or HR, which,
Wow.
which was very strange. And surprisingly enough, as much as you know how much I love to have fun, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I took all these classes, and I'm very interested in that topic. However, when I was watching the movie Oppenheimer, I could not get into it, and I don't know why. If I was just tired that day, if it was just too much, and so I watched most of it, but I just had to leave. My husband loved it, but I couldn't get into and I like I said, I have such a fascination for that whole topic, but yeah, Oppenheimer. I don't even know when. That's probably only a year or two ago, but
Yeah, I
I
was
like
about to say, I think that's, yeah, I think that was last year.
I like fun movies, so I really like well, I like some adventure, action adventure, rom-com kind. I like, me, that I just like happy things. I want everything to get tied up in a bow and be happy in the end. And maybe I just knew Oppenheimer, it's not going to be so happy in the end. But uh, I think there's enough crazy things going on. So when I watch a movie, I want to enjoy myself and relax and be entertained. Watch some good Bridgerton or Emily in Paris or, those kind of fun shows. So yeah, more my style.
I love that. Sharon, I'd like you to paint a picture for you. You're going on vacation, you're ready to go, and you have the option of taking a flotation device with you for the swimming pool, obviously. What would you take?
Well, if it's a Friday, it would be a flamingo blow up because
Great,
Fridays are for flamingos.
great,
It must have a cup holder,
absolutely.
and I like to be lounging. I know some folks have mentioned being exercising more, but I think it's not all the way flat, just kind of lounging
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
a cocktail in a pink flamingo floaty. And we can make this happen.
I know where you're going with this, and I think we should make this happen indeed. Oh, I love that, Sharon. Sharon, you've been a just a fabulous member of the business club now, pretty much since we joined. And having that conversation with you the other day, I was like, yeah, wow, Sharon has been with us since the beginning. If someone's watching this today or watching the recording afterwards and they're thinking about the business club, what do you get out of it, and what would you say to them?
So much. I get so much out of it. I think initially I thought about when starting for me and not starting my business and maybe not necessarily having so many meetings, right? I knew I had 3 meetings a week that I needed to get to, that people were waiting for me to be there and cared about what I had to say. It's kind of a quirky thing, but I do really enjoy that I have meetings. If I'm slow, it just makes me feel better than, oh, I don't have a client meeting. Oh, I have a 10 o'clock. I've got to go. I really think that that's important to keep you going. But I think there's so many times that I'm in the meetings and someone else in the club is talking about their struggles, and it's something that I'm going through. Or I feel like it's just me. And so I don't even have to share what I'm going through. I know that I'm not alone. There are resources that are always provided. I've learned so much. And there's a lot of different phases for learning. I mean, being in HR, so many of us, we know that part. We know that HR, you start your own business, you've hopefully been doing HR for a long time, and you know that it's being a business owner is different. And so having support in that area has been great. I've made so many friends that I enjoy spending time with. Being able to set goals every week and celebrate every week, learning new tools. There's just so much. Um, there's just so much that I enjoy. It's just been it's been I would say it's been a game changer for me too. I don't know um, if I would have continued. I do feel like
Wow.
the the club has really been a big part of my success. So
Sharon, I didn't know that last bit. That's that. Thank you. Yeah, thank
yeah.
you. That's really meant a lot.
And you are just so special to work with. I think that I really, when I first started coming, I think I had just mentioned to you recently, I felt like I could just kind of, it was like, the webinars that you can sit in the background and kind of watch and from afar and see if you learn anything, depending on how you're feeling that day, right? And going to the club is so much more interactive. I was forced to participate in a good way, and I know that you and I know that you cared. So it was right away, Sharon, how are you doing today? And I'm like, I'm okay. But starting that conversation and saying, well, maybe I'm not, or maybe I need some help. Well, I do have a question. And I think that makes a really big difference. I think it really helped me to um, with the accountability, oh my goodness, the accountability, so much more, and really working through things. But really knowing that you care and you're willing to help us no matter what, and we all help each other. I've had such a privilege to be able to meet, quite a few people in the club in person, in real life, and so that's been amazing too. I just love all the people that are in our group, which I was really surprised because HR people sometimes are different. There's all different types of HR people, but I've really enjoyed everyone that we've been able to spend time with in the club.
Sharon, thank you. Gosh, thank you so
Thank you.
much. Sharon, if there's someone listening today who's thinking, how do I get in touch with Sharon? I really need Sharon and her team in my life to help me with my HR. What's the best way they can get in touch with you?
MumfordHR.com has my information. Sharon at MumfordHR.com. And my LinkedIn, obviously, direct message me. Happy to help with whatever HR needs people have, whether they know what they need or they don't know what they need. I think it's also sometimes, they're like, the people, I hear this, the people part of my business is so hard. I just don't know how to deal with that. Well, let's figure it out. Let's talk through it. You might not know. I'm not going to judge you for whatever you need. So give a call, LinkedIn, direct message, website, all those things.
Oh, that good stuff. Sharon, thank you so much as ever for your energy. Just your sheer presence is a joy. You're just one of those people that you just fill a room with sunshine, and I mean that. So
Thank you.
thank you for coming on today. If anyone is in the Colorado area and they're looking for HR right now, and you want someone who's not going to be the HR police, Sharon really is your gal. So reach out to her. Thank you everyone for continuing to listen in, for your support. And we've got even more great guests coming, just like Sharon, who do some really special things in the workplace today. So from Sharon and me, we'll see ya. Bye.